So Tay is where now? There's Tay. So Tay Scott, I have the pleasure of introducing. She is the head of LinkedIn's global college recruiting efforts. She's going to be our keynote today, and she's going to give us a presentation that I'm really looking forward to. For those of you who know LinkedIn, and I'm not going to steal her thunder, but they've had phenomenal growth, not just in the basically decade or so since they've been in existence, but even just over the last couple of years. And a lot of the reason for that growth is because of their college recruiting efforts. They've brought in a ton of really fantastic talent, not just quote unquote young people. A lot of college students today are career transitioners. They're 40 years old, 50 years old, they've gone back to school for a new degree, and LinkedIn has hired a lot of people from both groups, and not just here in the US, but also internationally. So don't sit down. Don't sit down. This is just like church. I don't know why they don't just have you stand up the whole time. They said standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. It's like, it's more of an effort. Just stand up for 2 hours. Anyway, so Tay, I will hand it over to you. And thank you very much, everybody, for coming.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, 8:45, we've got 20 minutes. Right on. All right, I need the clicker. Yeah. All right, well, thank you. Thank you all for coming today, and I'm actually really honored to be standing in front of you. I mean, I'm sure that you all have incredible programs of your own, so just super excited to be here, and thanks for having me. Before we start, I just wanted to ask y'all a favor. I'm a little bit nervous, not on the professional speaking circuit. So I was wondering if you guys could just stand up, turn your chairs around, and not look at me. How about it? I knew that wouldn't work. All right, so getting right into it. All right, so I'm Tay Scott. I run the global campus recruiting team here at LinkedIn. Been here about 2.5 years, and having the time of my life running this team. It's an amazing team of young professionals, and couldn't be happier to be here. Today, I'm going to take you on a little journey of transformation of myself, the company, and hopefully the world at some point. So, any ideas who this might be? Any guesses? Okay, that would be me. Okay, so this is Tay, and this is Mini Tay. I call her Tay in a box. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about the concept of creating economic opportunity. And the creation of economic opportunity is really key and central to the mission of LinkedIn. But when I look at my own story, okay, so I was adopted from El Salvador when I was almost four years old. And when you look at where I came from to the access to education that I had, global travel that I had, all of those good things, they all were setting me up to eventually be able to create economic opportunity for myself, right? So inadvertently, my parents were helping me create economic opportunity for myself through all of the access that I had. So when we really think about creating economic opportunity for other people, the way that I actually approach college recruiting, and not to get all philosophical on you or anything, but I truly believe that we are fundamentally changing the trajectory of somebody's life by matching them with their dream job, with them and their skills, right? So sometimes it means walking away from somebody. If it's not the right fit, it's not the right fit. Sometimes it means, counseling and coaching and all of that good stuff. And so when we really built this program out, that's kind of central to who we are, is basically there is a person behind, the metric. All of us in the room here, we all, we deal in high volume. That's our life. But I would challenge us to kind of get outside of that box of filling a rec, high volume, and really look at the person that's behind that rec. So anyway, wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's central to who we are as a company as well as this program. So when we first started out with this program, We call this our mission, our team mission, but essentially it's a little bit of an operating principle, if you will. Basically, we're building LinkedIn's talent bench. And when you build a talent bench, it's integral to the company's growth, et cetera, all that good stuff. So this is where we started. Everything we did beyond that was based on this statement. So my boss, the amazing visionary, Brendan Brown, I think he might be here in the room somewhere, and Doris Tong, I like to refer to her as the OG of this team. She was original founding member. And so we all got together at the very beginning. We literally went on an executive roadshow. We had our little presentation. We had downloaded LinkedIn data. We knew where all of the executive team members had gone to school, how many alumni was on each of their team from each of the schools. As you all know, I'm sure as you all know, picking the schools can be highly emotional, right? Everybody's an alum from somewhere. And so we had to have a way of distilling it down to, okay, so how are we going to actually pick these schools when we have no precedent, right? So we used LinkedIn data, we used proximity to campus, we used relationships that we already have, and then we got down to a target list of schools. So this is basically the trajectory of where we started. Again, I'll mention Doris Tong, the original founding member of this team. Doris was here with a couple of members, and in 2010, she hired 42 interns. She had an amazing intern program. She had a vision, again, high touch, candidate experience, blowing the minds of an intern to turn them into ambassadors and full-time employees, hopefully, as well. So the next year, then, we took that up a notch to 72 interns. 40, at that time, I had actually started helping her. We actually hired 40 new college grads that year. And the most astounding thing that you'll see here, anybody have any experience with NPS scores? Yeah, so achieving a 97 on an NPS score is mind-blowing, okay? And this is a testament to how Doris ran the program, right? It was just phenomenal. So such a great program. She blew their minds. She ended up with an NPS score of 97. And that's where she drafted me onto this team at that point. She and Brendan drafted me onto this team, and we were off and running to build and scale even further. From there, we, last year, or 2012, was our first year in existence. 2011 to 2012 was our first year in existence. We ended the year with approximately 172 interns, 19 MBA interns, and 201 new college grads. So that was our first year running out the gates. And let me tell you, that was intense. Now, 2012 to 2013, year two, we increased demand across all groups in the U.S. Now we support every single team in the company. And as you guys can imagine, I'm sure, that creates a little bit of a challenge with different openings, different positions, different processes, et cetera. So we had to build scale into the operation as well. And then our ultimate goals, 2014 and beyond, are global program maturity. I mean, the ultimate goal here is to build a sustainable, global, sustainable, predictable pipeline of top campus talent from wherever in the world they may come from. So ultimately, that's where we're going. That's our vision. That's what we want to be able to achieve. Okay, so I talked a little bit about the mission. Then we had to build on that and build in, okay, so we need scalable, highly personalized processes to showcase LinkedIn's culture, values, and vision. And this is where, like, the mind-blowing candidate experience, the intern program, all of those things, they all point back to this statement. So again, 2011 to 2012, 201 new college grads, 172 interns, and 19 MBAs. So a little bit about the funnel. 24 schools. So I talked a little bit about using LinkedIn data. We landed on our schools. We added schools in the middle of the year. So we ended up with 24 schools that first year. 114 on-campus events. So those are things like OCIs and information sessions and job fairs, all of what you guys live on a daily basis. We all live. Okay, so the mind-blowing candidate experience. You see here we executed 15 invitationals that first year. And an invitational is something that we coined here to bring in top campus talent. And it's basically a cultural immersion interview day for our candidates. We bring the top students in, we give them a well-rounded interview experience, they get exposure to executives, they get tours, all that good stuff. So not only are we building in like interviewing and assessment, but everybody that leaves the campus then is a LinkedIn ambassador, which is huge. So we've got 15 invitationals last year, 18 MBA treks, and 134 campus recruiting team members. So 134 people from the business joined us on our trips to campus. And that in itself was quite an undertaking, is to really understand alumni, who were the best presenters, who could go with us to campus, getting the right people out to campus, et cetera. So we trained them, we handled their travel, we got them all scheduled to go to campus, and they went with us. About 1,700 interviews were conducted that first year, offers extended, and then you saw the numbers of offers accepted that we had ultimately at the end of the year. So this was all about like building scale, building programmatic information into it. Another unique thing that we did this first year is I spoke about the executive, buy-in. Jeff's our number one supporter. From day one, when we went on the roadshow, Jeff was 100% in. And when I say 100%, I mean 100%. He and his executive staff, 100% in. And what was really unique about this is that when we go to campus, they go with us. David Henke, our senior VP of engineering operations, he goes on a 4-school trek in Los Angeles. He's a huge draw for the students. Deep Nishar, our senior VP of product, went to his alma mater. Mike Gampson, Sarah Clemens, our executive team is 100% in on campus. And that was a huge differentiator for us to build brand, right? So who better to draw the best talent out than alumni, where they can show, where they've gone, what they've done over the course of their career. So it was amazing. Okay, this year we'll end somewhere around 230 new college grads, 210 interns, and around 30 MBAs. So you can see we've got increased demand across all teams, and we're continuing to grow. This funnel here just shows you 24 schools. Now we're at 32, 192 on-campus events. Now we scale our invitationals across every team in the company. So the invitationals are highly customized interview days for every team in the company. And again, that presents a whole lot of operational things that we have to, scale and implement as well. And the events team has done an amazing job of doing that. 20 MBA tracks. I'm sure all of you guys get requested on a daily basis to have MBA tracks come through your places of employment. We get an inordinate amount. They all want to come through. We have to have some way of distilling that down. Again, we use LinkedIn data. We distill it down. How many alumni do we have? So we really use that as a way of kind of promoting what are our target schools and figuring out which ones we should host. Because if in our mind, if we could host every one of them, we would. Clearly, brand ambassadors. That's what we live for. So that's like mid-season. Okay, so a couple of other things that we do that we feel are, kind of differentiators for us in terms of brand building. We sponsor a lot of things for as diverse of an audience as possible. We cast as wide of a net as possible. We sponsor the She++ Stanford Conference geared toward women in technology. Girls teaching girls to code at Stanford. We went to Grace Hopper in a big way. And Code 2040, actually, their organization, their sole purpose in life is to increase the number of African American and Hispanic software engineers in the industry. So we feel like Sponsorships and casting as wide of a net as possible allows us not only a larger footprint and brand perspective, but also get in front of the right audience that we may not ordinarily attract. So we feel like that's a differentiator for us. Another one is Doris Tong, again, Intern Hack Day. She put on the original Intern Hack Day, I think, and she invites all the interns from across the valley over the summer. They have this amazing overnight hackathon. They come out of it, they have, fun, cultural immersion again. I think she actually had them do yoga last time. Developer Hack Day is a hackathon that she put on geared just toward women in technology. So again, these are things that are meant to broaden our reach and our brand building. So you can see here the OG herself, Doris Tong. The little guy there is Oe, and he's an honorary member of the campus team, her son. But they were really, I shouldn't really actually be in this picture. I should probably crop myself out because I was not an OG. But they were the two original founding members of the team. Now you can see the amazing team that's behind all of the magic that we pull off each year. This is the team. There's some cross-functional resources in here, but you get a sense of, how much we've grown. The other thing that's interesting is I'm actually, how do you call it, eating at my own cafe, if you will. I hired new college grads from top schools, many of whom did not have any experience, to come onto the team, and based purely on potential. This is exactly what I'm asking the business to do every single year. And so it's just been a mind-blowing experience for me, myself. I've learned so much from this team. They can do magic. And I truly believe that, this generation of talent is just so important for any company experiencing high growth, especially. Okay, so you can see here our U.S. target school reach. That's pretty much where we're at in the United States. Globally, we have Europe, EMEA, and APAC. So I wanted to talk a little bit about going global. We don't just do it just to do it. There is a strategic impact here. The reason that we're looking at these things, like we've brought in interns to Mountain View, from Cambridge, from Tsinghua, and we did anybody ever recruited at the IITs? Yes, 1, 2. Well, anybody that's ever recruited at the IIT schools, the top technical schools in India, knows it can be very challenging. And so we went last year, we hired 2 or 4 very top IIT students. And the reason that we feel this is strategically impactful is because we may be building brand and school relationships and people who are LinkedIn ambassadors in areas that we don't even have offices in yet. So in terms of the company being ahead of the company, we feel we can help in that regard. Okay, so I've spoken a lot actually about what we do on campus, how we get out the traditional dog and pony show, all of those good things. One really important thing to note is that we do a ton of recruiting just on LinkedIn. This is a sample recruiting funnel for one school. I won't name what school it is, but you can see this was done concurrently with on-campus outreach efforts. So basically, simultaneously, we were doing a sourcing project all on LinkedIn to find the talent. We sent out in-mails, same as you would for experienced hiring, targeting companies. You can target schools. We ended up with 4 hires from this one particular effort. So you can see here, we are changing how college recruiting is done. Everybody's familiar with this workflow, I'm sure: pre-sourcing, campus visits, talent pipelining, and then revisiting it all, looking at the data, and then going back to school from there. So one thing to note here is that LinkedIn is completely 100% on LinkedIn. And the mind-blowing aspect of this is I actually believe everybody in this room, myself included, we can change the way that college recruiting is done in the future. I believe that we will strategically impact the way that college recruiting is done by using LinkedIn, by using the job postings, the jobs you may be interested in, groups, talent pipeline, all of the things that are available on LinkedIn, we use here, and it's a major part of why we've been successful. So I will end here by showing you a little picture of Jeff. Jeff's our CEO again. And this is just to show you that we have made it onto Jeff's top 10 most transformational company events, 2 years running, 2011 and 2012. Every year he goes through, he identifies the top 10 most transformational moments that happened that year. Oh, we get listed with a little IPO here, all of that stuff. But the reason I bring this up is because this just fundamentally tells you what strategic impact this program has at LinkedIn. And what I would wish for every single one of you is that you have that level of executive support and you have that level of strategic impact at your own companies. And finally, that we all fundamentally strategically change the way that college recruiting is done. We can do it together. So, thank you.
Awesome. Talk about walk the walk, huh? There's so many organizations out there that have tools, whether it's in the recruiting space or it's a restaurant. You ever gone to a restaurant and you ask the server, what's really good on the menu, and they say, I don't know? Not a good sign. But obviously, when you've got an organization like LinkedIn that is recruiting thousands of people a year, when they're using their own tools, they couldn't be as successful as they are if their tools weren't working well, right?